let's just start off with the market's performance, gaining a bit of ground, but quite modest gains. We do know that there have been jitters around equities, a lot more money moving into the fixed income side. How do you see people reallocating their portfolios in a market that's been so topsy-turvy?
Hi, Lerato. Thanks for having me. Like you said, we saw the market actually ending up in the green today. We saw a bit of about half a percentage point gain on the balls closing today. Interestingly, looking at the losers and the gainers chart, you actually found that you had about 25 losers, 15 gainers, but I think selectively you're beginning to see some valuable stock pick happening in the market, stock having some good valuation levels and eliciting some interest in the market for the market participants for now. Yes, decrease has been happening, but like it said, after the slump, what else? We need to stand up.
Yeah.
So you might see some picking interest on the back of that.
All right, let's take a look at what's happening on the fixed income side. A slightly weaker Naira at 156. Now, this is quite a reversal. You know, the gains we saw when we started to see some reforms kicking in with the Bureau de Change, with the lifting on restrictions on foreign ownership of bonds. The Naira was steadily moving towards 150, and now we're regressing a little bit.
Yes, we're seeing a bit of flop on the currency front. We would say that a bit of liquidity has been a bit of an issue on the interbank market for a while now. High levels of liquidities that we typically experience over the cyclical period. We've not really seen so much of that level. Also, we've seen demand at the CBN window actually jump for over a period of time now. The CBN we must say, has actually responded adequately. They've come into the market with sufficient liquidity. Else, I think the Naira would have seen much pressure at the interbank end. But on the overall thing, we've seen on the back of that little flows that's come into the market outside of the CBN window, we've seen the currency actually pushing up. Overall, we will look at the fact that one of the main sense or main strategy or main theme that we get from the CBN is the need to ensure some form of price stability. Yeah. So if we see prices at a certain range for over a period of time, I think to a large extent they've achieved the stability that they desire to see on the currency front. Not undermining the fact that Naira gains were expected, but with the lifting on of the Bureau de Change and the policies that has come out of it, one thing we should know that its aim is to draw out here is to actually bring a convergence of the rates. So we've seen the Bureau de Change rate moving out from the 160 levels into the 150 something levels, and we've seen the CBN, the interbank rate actually inching up a bit. But we've seen the price convergence, which it's one of the central theme of the CBN, and I think to a fair extent the market and they have responded well to ensure that that actually happens.
All right, so some parity on the official market and the parallel markets. Let's talk about though the persistent dollar demand. Obviously some companies are paying very good dividends and so hence the demand for dollars, but dollar demand's really been the central theme of the last few months, despite, as I said, all the various measures to make the Naira look a little more stable and attractive.
Yeah, well, I would say yes, you've seen a bit of corporate demand actually pushing into the CBN window. If a curious look at it, I would say there have been some cyclical patterns into this demand, and like you say, some corporate earnings might have pushed some demand via that window. Looking at the overall theme on the demand front and the foreign exchange market and the Naira stability, if you take into consideration what you say is the average range of the currency for even on this month, after given the spikes that we've seen on the up and the downside, you still see the Naira has traded relatively stable in a stable region at about 153, 154. Like I said in my initial listing, those are the price stability, those are the things that the CBN is looking at, and in a quick assessment, I think that has been been to a good extent largely achieved.
Your outlook for the Naira, Nwabueze. We're told that, you know, with sluggish global demand, oil prices are set to slump a little bit by about 3%. So we're not going to be getting these great prices for oil going forward. The central bank still needs to build up its war chests, reserves somewhere in the region of $32 billion. It's, you know, a slight decline from what we've seen in recent months. So when you look at the Naira and the things that just really would support the Naira, are you confident?
Lerato, I could say yes, I could nod my head to that to affirm a bit my confidence in that. Like I would always say, if you look at on the oil price volatility that's happened this year and comparing it to the reserve level, you've seen a bit of stability on the reserve level ranges from the start of this year even up to now. The CBN we've actually maintained some stability in the reserve level. So removing the extremes on those on the oil prices spikes, and now oil sitting around $83, $84 per barrel. Those are good levels. Those are still below the budget benchmark, noting. So we do not really think that there's so much room for worry right now.